The view over our nation's capital, the White House, on this Monday morning. Democrats now have the majority in the House of Representatives after the midterms. So what are the priorities for the new leadership in Congress? That's a big question. Democratic Congressman from the 7th District, Ami Bera, joins us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Glad to be on, Simone.
It has been a busy couple of weeks for you. You've won re-election. This will be your 4th term in the House. And what a ride it has been. What was it like to watch the Democrats take back the House?
You know, I think the public's put their trust in us, and now with the Democrats in the majority in the House of Representatives, let's see if we can't start healing this country and looking for common ground.
Well, so I wanted to talk about that because we have Republicans holding power in the Senate and the White House, but what are some of the top things on the agenda from that perspective that the Democrats want to try and focus on as we move forward?
Yeah, I think a couple things. People spoke pretty loud and clear in this election that healthcare is important. We've got to start addressing the cost of healthcare, cost of prescription medications. In addition, things like campaign finance reform, those are things people can agree on. And then we've all got roads, bridges, highways that are in ill repair. Let's focus on an infrastructure bill and some things that we might be able to get Republicans and the president to agree with us on.
I wanted to touch on something. You're the co-founder of the Problem Solvers Caucus. Essentially, it's a group of Democrats and Republicans that are dedicated to working together. And we have seen so much bitter, partisan bickering. And you said the country needs to heal. What tangible things can you guys bring to the table in terms of that?
So a couple things. We're going to have leadership elections coming up, and we've put together this Break the Gridlock proposal, which looks at how do you change the rules that govern the House of Representatives? How do you give more power to the committees and the rank and file members? And we're making progress on that. Again, there's a leadership election. There'll be a new Speaker of the House, and the leverage we have is what can we do to enact some of these rule changes.
Well, you've been part of the Problem Solvers Caucus when you guys were the underdogs, essentially,
right,
as well. And so, respectfully, now that the tables have turned, I mean, how important is this still to you to have that spirit of bipartisanship? Will you carry it forward?
It's incredibly important, right? We're a pretty divided country right now, and what I see in Sacramento may not be what someone who represents small-town Kentucky sees, and we're still all Americans. So how do we come together and find that common ground?
I did want to touch on one more thing before we let you go. This past weekend, we saw President Trump and Governor Jerry Brown. They were together in Paradise touring some of the disasters, and we heard them making an effort at getting along, at working together. Do you think that will stick around?
Well, I would ask the president to tone down his rhetoric and maybe put the Twitter account down. But in tragedy like the fires that we're seeing both here in Southern California, we've got to come together as a nation. And there's going to be a lot of rebuilding that takes place, a lot of support that the families and the communities that were devastated are going to need. And let's set aside the partisan rhetoric and let's come together as Americans.
We still have so much work to do. All right, Congressman Ami Bera, thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning.
Thanks, Simone.
All right, we'll head over to you, Adam, in the Weather Center.
Thank you very much, Simone. I'm still tracking me cool conditions to start the day, so as you head outside, grab that jacket. You may not need that face mask like you needed last week. The air is still considered unhealthy.